I accidentally clicked inside Wizard 101 and on the Discord overlay, and it borked up my entire game, so I had to close it. I'm reopening it. I was almost done gardening, but of course I had to misclick, and immediately like it snapped to a very awful like old school 800 by 680 screen, which is fine if I was using the retro overlay. I was just like, that's all gross looking. What the hell's happening? And it's because I had a Discord message pop up. So, like, it won't show up on stream, but I actually clicked on it and it borked. Oh, God, it's still borked. Oh, cool. No, I just have to change the display and put it on borderless. There we go. Oh, that's a little bit better. Yeah, okay. It like changed the resolution and went out of borderless mode without me messing with any settings. That was very weird. We love random tech issues. I am live already. I'll accept the stream together in a moment, Ducky. I know. I am. I'm just trying to hurry. Oh yeah, where everything is rounded and it looks like a soulless corporate entity has taken over my phone. It doesn't do them alphabetically if you go back to paging. That Okay, I figured it out. If you swipe down, swipe left or right. I figured that out tonight on the way home. If you don't get the right one when you swipe down, swipe left or right. Yeah, I found that out by accident when my Spotify disappeared. Yeah, no, it is the epitome of a soulless corporate change that did not have to happen. It is not an improvement. Hey, Mom, he's been in AEW for a long time. Oh, it's well, it's because he wasn't. He's an old timer. I mean, he, when Heath Slater and him were first fired in 2019, I think, they went to AEW immediately and did some tag team stuff still. And I don't know what happened to Heath Slater. I don't know. I haven't seen Heath Slater in a long time. Yeah, he was a redhead guy. We're talking wrestling for those who don't know. Oh, the patriarchy. I mean, he's almost 50. He's been wrestling since ECW days. Mom, he's been wrestling since ECW was on the air. That was 30 years ago. Yeah, that was 30 years ago. It's not meant to be a critique on him. It's just like you can't hide getting old. You know, like I mean, listen. It just happens. Yeah, I am live. If you're trying to watch, if you're watching my channel, you might have to refresh it. That's all. I see stream together, and I see your chat. Yeah, this is unironically why we call it Wizard Family Wednesdays, because the duck and I are engaged, and I am playing with my mom in a game that I've been playing since I was in college. And the duck usually plays a game or does happy art in the background. Though the duck now has a keyboard set up and can play music. Nice. Which means that we may occasionally get keyboard duck when they start having their song tangents. I grew up in a house where everyone sang when the radio was playing music. I would look really weird at my mom if she... Well, that's because the issue there is copyright. Because it was coming through your stuff. You may not believe me. Well, yeah, okay, that's back in the day when I was irritable. To be fair. Wait, are you a family? Yeah, yeah, no. Like Mama Zell is literally my mom, and I'm engaged to the duck. We are in fact a family. But like, but still, family. Also, I'm hitting X on the dungeon. I hit. Oh yeah, we have a friend who lives in Washington State. I mean, you said okay. To be fair, if we're gonna have a dox off, the two of you usually beat me on that. So. But you know, Samuel, that we are indeed family, which means that at some point we will yell at each other, not you, or say crazy things. Yep. I'm also going to turn on the politics and sensitive social issues tag, not because I plan to talk about anything, but if someone comes in here and asks a question about India and Pakistan, it is a relevant current social thing happening. Well, political nightmare thing. No, I don't. No. Stop! 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 I don't. No joke. No jokes. The jokes. The jokes are. There are no jokes that are safe in the modern era anymore with politics on streams. I have spent this week watching a streamer get caught up in a debate and basically admit to being a supporter of the Houthis. And then be like, what about it? There's nothing wrong with that. So, like, I don't want to go there. Let's not go down jokes. Okay, that's... Okay, that's a lot safer than I thought. That's okay. So just know that if there's the social tag in, there was a streamer who was recently called that because they're a larger person and Muslim. So like, that's Star Wars jokes may not be safe right now. Twitch, I didn't do any. Twitch, I didn't say the joke. But yeah. Someone took that specific character from Star Wars and came with a rather crass nickname for someone because they are larger and Muslim and female. I get it. I get it. I get it. It's Pritzker being called. Oh wait. Pritzker being called Jabba or someone that is Jabba? It's so weird hearing fat jokes when we've got Trump and Chris Christie in our lives. Christie's also lost a lot of weight compared to Trump or Pritzker. No, but Pritzker, to be fair, has like the all of his body is stocky. He does not have the Trump lean where like his chicken legs don't look like they should support his fatty body, and then he has the huge head. Yes, Pritzker is like I am, where I am block, and I am block from top to bottom. So like, it's just I don't know. It feels weird. I like. It's still weird. It's still. Okay. It's like his wife is not obese. Why are we making fun of her? Okay. Oh yeah. I always just called them cinnamon rolls. Why would you call them Cinnabon? I don't, but like Cinnabons don't equal cinnamon rolls in my mind. They equal like the little balls. Oh. Correct. This is the part. This is a, to be fair on the on. To be fair, okay, a couple things. When I think of like markets or malls and food items, I think of Great American Cookie Company, which these days is tied to a PTSD episode with Ukraine. So like, I don't want to go too deep into that. Other than the mall that got blown up, had a Great American Cookie Company and looked like the mall in my childhood. So I don't.
You take the truth.
Okay, see, out here, the Cinnabons are in malls, like big malls. They're not in outlet malls. I have never actually. I don't recall a Cinnabon in my home area. I so like you're talking about it. I don't recall ever seeing one in the home area. Oh, okay. So it's not locked to my childhood at all. That's why I know nothing about Cinnabon. I was just like super confused. I feel like the duck has more knowledge about Cinnabon just because like the duck was in malls.
Against with your heart, we must.
Yeah, like, and then there's the mall that's out by some of our friends when we go play role playing on Sunday that has a Cinnabon. But like,
Oh, hey! I'm glad. I need. Could you get Corky's true essence, then use it to change him back into a bumbler like you did for me?
yeah, I went to go talk to the Bumblebee. All right, stop. There's a little Bumblebee over here with the quest. And then Jarelia, the running one, if only Quest Finder has a quest. So I'm gonna go to her. But yeah, no, like Great American Cookie Company is the locked memory, and it ties to a bad episode. I just mostly remember the giant cookies that you guys would get, and they were like slabs. They were cut like pie, but they were slabs of cookie. It's because the boy muted me. His stance next to my microphone, I guess he booped it. Nice. So I went to the Reckless Chamber because we can't go to Zerelia, Mom. Oh, yeah. So, Wawa...
I came in here to get away from it.
Yeah,
A rat and a hooded stranger walk into the recluse chamber.
yeah, that's fair.
Sounds like a setup to a bad joke.
I missed a writer. The boy is just like stands up next to my microphone, and he's got the pouty face on, like he wants to be on my chest. But I am not wearing a t-shirt anymore, so he's like, I can't be on your shirt, Dad. I can't flop on you. And it's like, well, son, that's a you problem. I'm comfy. I got home and I was a little overheated. Because... yeah, it's kind of well. May, yeah. Ryder, stop! Why are you being mean? What's with you? Hello? Sir? Why are you being mean? Why are you being mean, boy? Be nice. Be nice. Be nice. Be nice, cat. Be nice. This is pretty aggressive, boy. I'm gonna start booping you with aggression play if you keep this up. Ooh. To be fair, Sammy, if you're not American, these are all different things that are very American cuisine. So... Okay, Mr. Ryder, that does... No. No. That's not nice. Ryder? I understand I'm Moroccan. Okay. It's very American, Sammy, for Americans to be obsessed with sugared products. It's a very uncommon thing in the rest of the world, but Americans are very we overkill our we overkill our sugar consumption. Yes, in America, but in France, no. They cut out a lot of the sugar apparently in France when it comes to here. A lot of them are not as they're sugared up. Like Madeleines, they sugar their stuff up. Like, and also the type of sugar used is different. In Europe, they tend to use cane sugar more often than actual processed sugar. Yeah. Mr. Ryder, we're gonna have a problem of you staying up here if you continue to try to bat at the phone. Stop that. I just said Americans are so much for the fast food. Yeah, it's mostly because we have a very self-centric, work yourself to death culture. So fast food has proliferated really easily because most people don't. I don't think I stuttered. Yeah, we as a society, we've really, unfortunately, like Europe, driven ourselves away from family centric consumption. So even with like diners and stuff, it's all about getting people food as quickly as possible, not people actually enjoying the food together. It's like it's kind of depressing, but like the most impactful meals that most Americans have, not necessarily our family, but most Americans have, are holidays, where they have the day off, so they actually get to enjoy a meal with their family. But like for the duck and I, we try to go out and we have a couple hours, and we tend to we if we go to a food place anymore, we tend to go to more buffets more than like diners, because at least at a buffet, you have time to have some quiet and slowly enjoy your food, because the speed isn't in getting tables filled and dumped. It's in making sure the food is available for people to eat, which means that the duck and I can eat leisurely and be happy. And then with Can you tell me an original American food? Uh, ooh. Um, yeah, probably sausage gravy as a whole, in the way it is made, is probably American original. Um, it's a savory dish in which we make a milk and sausage based gravy, so it's thick, fluid, and we cover it over biscuits. They can be any kind of biscuit, though typically you want a savory biscuit, not a sweet biscuit. Um, I feel yeah. Um, I mean the burger as a convention involving beef is a very American dish, mostly because like prior to the invention of the hamburger, most of the beef that was made in the world was made in the United States. The beef as a cattle wasn't proliferated in most of the world yet. So wait, it's like so so to be fair, Sammy, my mom was making a fatal error in assuming you would understand the difference of hamburger versus hamburger, and that's a very American thing. You make ground beef, like ground chuck. My mom will say hamburger a lot of times when she's talking about ground chuck or ground beef. And right, to to most non-Americans, you want to say ground chuck or ground beef. It's basically low quality. You take the fatty and most used muscles of a cow, and you can grind the meat up, and it's consumable. It doesn't have as it's about making yeah. It usually is made from the meats that's tougher to chew, so you can't make steaks out of it. You can't make like fillet or anything like that. But it's meant to make the cow go further. But you said hamburger when you were talking about your childhood experience. I'm just clarifying. Yeah, it's Americans have a habit of we use a lot of words and shortchange that everyone will look at us and go, "But you have hamburger," and it's like, all right, we don't. That's not the right hamburger. We have to explain that. I just wanted to make sure that we explained that before I went too far. Yeah, and chicken fried steak is probably like one of my favorite dishes. Just because I like the crunchy texture you get from a fried dish, but it's beef. Because I don't necessarily enjoy the taste of chicken. Well, yeah, but you could also just do biscuits. Like, it's an easy... As a breakfast dish, instead of having mashed potatoes with gravy on it, you can do biscuits with gravy on it. Um, in terms of other American foods, so I had a question on gumbo. Is gumbo is Cajun in origin? Is it not French in origin, or is it actually a uniquely American thing? Because, like, the inevitable question is it... Because, like, the fundamental question... Corn dogs. Corn dogs, yeah. Corn dogs are a hot dog covered in breading. So the hot dog is very American. The corn dog is an American expansion on an American food. I find hot dogs in general very gross. Yeah, in an attempt to make me... It goes back to in the attempt to make a cow go as far as possible with its exploitation. Like, the hot dog is a good convention that comes out of... Yeah, nothing goes to waste. I feel like there is a part there where, like, it's going a bridge too far. Like, the idea of a hot dog in itself is not the problem. It's what goes into a hot dog is my problem. Wait, the hot dogs are the pork meal? They're not just pork. They could also have chicken and beef in them. They are an amalgam. But yes, they're in terms of given my knowledge of Morocco and maybe religious custom, you have to be very careful with hot dogs because hot dogs contain pork meat in them. Most of them do. In this case, you could probably find a halal hot dog. I know in New York City when I went there, they had halal dogs. I don't know what was in them. But like there are kosher and halal hot dogs. Yeah. I was sitting there like, yeah, no, my understanding of Moroccan culture, yeah, a hot dog would be a travesty. But you can definitely find a... Yes, yes. But contextually, like, there were halal dogs in New York City. I think they were made of lamb. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they were made of lamb. Well, yeah, because... Yeah. And lamb in the United States in general, and sheep are not actually a widespread commodity in terms of... Because I scared to visit America. Yeah, that's so real. Yeah. So my advice would be, like, when you're going to a metropolitan like New York City or Atlanta or DC, you could go to a place and look for kosher or halal. They both are typically no pork in them. I have seen chicken hot dogs. I have seen lamb hot dogs. I've seen beef hot dogs. So you can avoid the pork. You can avoid the pork. You can... Even like in Kentucky where you get a lot of Scotch and you get a lot of sheep farming, you don't see a lot of lamb consumption. Like... Oh, then you get like haggis. Yeah. Haggis. But yeah, no, also ham is pork, so avoid ham entirely. So Sami, in order to avoid pork foods in America when it comes to meats, avoid ham. Yeah, ham, bacon, and hot dogs are all likely to contain pork meat in them. You're never gonna see ham or bacon. Well, I guess you'll see bacon. It's cursed. It's called turkey bacon. Anyway, like, there are typically bird replacements for the consumption of pigs and pork. So, like, as long as you're in a metropolitan area, you'll be okay. If you go out into a rural area, my bestie, the best advice I can give is be ignorant and appreciate your ignorance, because that wait, bicane are haram too. Ooh, so you don't do chicken, and turkeys, um, because I knew pigs were. Well, I know bi is two. I assume it's 2 feet. Yeah. So I assume that's poultry. So yeah, you can easily avoid poultry dishes. Most places advertise that they're still using chicken or turkey. This is a question that bicane haram. So I don't know. Most Americans would not know what bicane is. Let me go see what it translates to. Might be. Oh yeah, it's cloven hooves. So yeah, that's not true. Some cows do. You got to be careful with the type of cow. Cows have cloven hooves, meaning their feet are divided into two claws in each foot. They're considered a bike. They could be bicane depending on the breed. You could probably do like bison. Uh, okay, I'm about to look up rum meats. So no pork or no pork or pork products. Okay, so you can't do sausage. Oh, you can't do country grape. Oh oh. It's it's gonna be made with or beef. It's got to be made from beef or turkey if it's sausage gravy. Just yeah. Let's see. Certain aquatic animals. Yeah, there's plenty of fish. We don't really, and I'm not like the weird consumption of amphibians or reptiles is a southern, and not like what ducky is southern, but like bayou. You're not bayou. You're not bayou. You're not bayou. I will remind you. I will. For the upteenth time, I will remind you and Ducky. Indiana thinks it's in the South, and Indiana larps that it's in the Bayou Belt. But like, that's why I was looking. I sing aquatic animals. You could probably have a lot of, like. Wait, look, I could eat chicken and turkey. No audio from. Oh, my bad. Thanks, Hockey. You know. To be fair, I was running behind because I got home late and was doing things, and now things are fine. Now you should be able to hear the two.
Hi, Hockey.
I just
Yeah.
put that on the thing, but we're not getting our ass kicked really. No audio from Oslo. Dr. Cat fix that. Wait, look, I can eat chicken or turkey. That's good. And it looks like you can probably eat most beef products, but you just got to be very specific when you walk into most food places that you're looking for beef or chicken. And you'll probably be safe wherever you eat in America. There's a lot of things that you can enjoy that are just purely beef or chicken.
A good steak. Steak and baked potato.
It's a very
My favorite meal.
It's a very American, but also very in general simple meal. You could probably enjoy chili. Chili is like gumbo, and
It depends on what they use as the meat stock for the chili. Again, you would need to make sure it's beef.
usually it's
not
beef.
Something else.
Most places use beef. I've seen pork in chili. I find that awful
Yes,
because
I have to.
pork doesn't
And
have
I've
a
seen spicy pork in chili.
pork does not absorb the flavor of chili like beef does. So that's just a terrible choice in terms of meats used. But hey,
Yeah, that's why I've talked about whenever my dad cooked cabbage, he puts the hock of the pig in the cabbage because it makes it taste like pork.
Oh,
see,
rather than
okay,
butcher.
so Sami, like, I don't really like a lot of pork and pig in general. So, like, when it comes to food stuff, I'm appeased in most restaurants because beef is everywhere in America. And chicken is always available, beef is not. So, wherever you wind up at, you can probably find a happy beef or chicken dish to consume in most parts of the country. The only time it really gets questionable, honestly, is like really, really small town in the South in Indiana, and then really small towns in California.
okay. So here's a caveat. Driving across Missouri, there are a lot of like those Travel Americas where they have the country kitchens that are now serving more other religions that have to watch their foods because they'll have the signs letting you know that they're halal or they're kosher or they're, properly cooked so that you can eat it without causing yourself problems. It was kind of interesting the number of the restaurants I saw like that driving across Missouri.
No, I don't eat
It's
pork.
another
And
state.
the duck and my mom both look at me weird because I don't love the taste of bacon. And Hockey will probably be immediately offended that I said that. But this is a conversation
and
I've had.
He is every time that you remind him, yeah.
Yeah.
Mama Zealot is offended you don't like bacon because
I
like
don't
bacon's
like
one
the
of my
taste
regular
of bacon.
foods.
I don't like the taste of bacon. It is perfectly okay to not enjoy the taste of bacon.
And I like to imitate the dog food commercials for bacon strips or bacon.
Ah,
strips.
yes, a great way to advertise bacon
bacon.
through dogs. Yes, excellent. Great advertising.
Because it supposedly tastes like bacon to the dogs. But yeah. And I have to say, all of my cats love it when I put my little bacon chunks. And
I
you
bet
do like
they
bacon
do.
on your Aussie fries. Don't tell me you don't.
It's because it's got cheese and the potato and the cheese make up for the fact that bacon is crunchy. Can't believe he doesn't like bacon. If you just hand me a strip of bacon, I will look at you offended. To be fair, though, I don't like pork sausage. So I don't like most sausage either. I
don't do pork sausage. Remember when I would make the breakfast casserole, I used ground pork because it wasn't seasoned.
Yeah, and, like, I would be okay if you even substitute that with ground beef. I don't know if you can, but I would be down
I
for that.
don't see why you couldn't. I don't know that it would change because you're browning the meat before you mix the casserole together to bake
Yeah.
it.
And then, like, I like... That dish is tasty because it's basically a quiche, but it's breakfast oriented, so it's cheese and egg. And you could make beef
Cheese,
instead of
egg,
pork.
and bread,
Yeah.
and then the meat. And milk mixed in. Although, like kosher, you can't mix the meat and the stuff together to cook it because you can't mix the...
See, I'm sorry. I'm surprised you didn't spam your emote, Hockey, when I said that pork is gross. You've got a little happy emote in this chat. I'm surprised you didn't just like start spamming the cheeky bro. I don't have an attack spell. I don't have an easy solution to things in my hand. Yippee.
Something else that's American, there are some nuts that grow here in the United States that don't grow elsewhere.
And I think there's some fruits too.
Fruits.
But also, America has a climate for literally any other part of the world. Okay, good. Do you eat a Moroccan food? I think of the last time I had anything that would be Moroccan or like close to Morocco. I went to, and this is not to compare you to Algerian, but it's just like thinking North African cuisine. I went to an Algerian restaurant when I was in DC, when I used to work in politics in DC. I didn't mind it, but there was a lot of fish to my recollection on the menu. And I don't hate fish, I don't love fish.
How strong of the seasoning do you eat, Sammy? Because like I can't have stuff that's really heavily seasoned, spicy.
Oh yeah,
My-
most Americans suffer from the inability to have huge amounts of spice, whether it's
No,
strong and savory
your
or
mom
hot.
is weird. Okay, you just I'm worse than most people. There are a lot of people who eat spicy, like Mexican dishes that I can't even taste.
I'm trying to
because
think
I'll
of
get sick.
if I've ever even gotten close to Moroccan dish, and I don't think so.
I don't think there's any Moroccan restaurants here in the area that I live in.
No,
Not that I can remember.
no. The closest I think I've ever seen to anything near Morocco, potentially in cuisine, again, it's an Algerian restaurant in Ireland. Went there one time with some colleagues. I don't remember much about the menu because we were going there to drink beer, to my recollection. Um, huh? No, and I don't want to assume how Frenchified your cuisine is. So I don't want to, and I don't want to be potentially insulting in that regard, because um,
So, what is one of your favorite dishes, Sammy? Since we've talked about ours.
true. And the real question that will follow up is it a sandwich, salad, or soup, in terms of the presentation of it? I have all of my heels in my hand, but because of the rework on heels, I don't want to throw them away because they won't reshuffle.
Right, because you don't get yours
Yeah, I
back.
don't
and
get
I
them
have
back.
multiple copies.
Moroccan
And
dishes are not
I get
spicy,
multiple copies
but
because
if you
I'm
want
the
to, you
life
can add
coach.
spicy. Okay. I mean, like, there's some
so
curries.
it's not like whenever you go to a Korean place and you're just scared to eat. That's good.
Yeah, it's more like Indian cuisine where the curry does not necessarily mean you will
Oh
die.
my god, I love curry. Oh my god.
Yeah.
I have not had curry since we moved out here.
Okay.
Maybe.
To my recollection,
Okay, so
you should talk to Board Game Steve about. There's an Indian restaurant he used to order from when we would go to Huzzah. And I don't know the name of it, but I got the chicken there, and it was a lighter curry, and I enjoyed it. I just like with curry, I got to be careful because I will shit myself to death if I'm not careful with curry.
okay, so funny thing is my husband, Zealot's dad, when he was alive, worked for a computer company that had a heavy Indian number of employees, and they would do cook-offs with using curry and like curry, whatever, make your favorite curry dish. And they would always ask my husband to taste on because he was a neutral taste tester, so he could judge which one was the best.
And he
dish.
loved spice. He loved all kinds
And
of
he would
spice.
come home reeking of curry, reeking. I mean, it just, he walked in the door and I could smell it before I'd even leaned in to hug him. It was so strong.
And mom
Because
would,
he
and
was-
the next thing the mom would say is, "You need to take a shower. I can smell the curry on you." And dad would just look disappointed because in his mind he's like, "I just had the best meals of my life. What are you talking about?" I like couscous and tangine, rafisa, and tangia. I recognize couscous, but
Couscous is used here in the Midwest to replace rice, I think, in some meals. I've never had it personally, but I know people who use couscous in their meals.
I know it's a substitute grain, and so like you can use it in place of other grains. The first thing I found out, this is very American, is a lemon couscous. Of course, it's desserts. It's what's the best thing we can do in America? Dessert it.
Ah, yes, make it a dessert. I still haven't tried rice pudding though. I do want to try rice pudding.
Oh.
Or
Is it bad? I don't.
it's
know.
for me. So for me, it's a texture thing. The taste wasn't bad. It's just I'm a texture baby. If it
It's the same reason I don't like tapioca. I don't want solid chunks in my pudding.
now
Here.
tangine also sounds familiar. Let me look that up. Oh, it's like a. Oh, it's almost like how mahi mahi is prepared. It's baked inside a earthenware pot. Do you preserve the earthenware dish that you cook tangine in? Because like my experience with Indian cuisine is they break the clay pot.
Oh yeah, to like yeah.
Tangia, it's in Marrakesh. Okay. Terracotta cooking vessel. Okay, it's also named the stew cooked in the pot. Okay. I mean, the duck loves stews, so like you'd win favor there. I like stew
What's
more
in
than
it?
soup. It looked like it was, what's the There's a derogatory name, and I'm trying not to say it, but there's one there's a stew where everyone brings a component. It looks similar to that and how it's being talked about on Wikipedia. Where, like, everyone brings a meat of their choice or a vegetable, and you cook it all together. It looks like it looks...
My first thought is hot pot, but it's not specifically hot pot.
No, that's...
Obviously. But hot pot, at least you can do hot pot that way. I feel like that's putting a lot of faith in your friends to pick good choices.
Yeah, that's real.
With these crisp and I
Free, the mariner whose eye is bright, whose beard with age is hoar.
Hey, the old man
Oh, we
disappeared.
saved one guy. Okay. Now we gotta go talk to Old Cobb in the hall.
So Marrakesh is the capital, I think, in Morocco. Which is why Sami was mentioning that. I work with maps, so I think Marrakesh is the capital. It sounds close to the name of the capital.
with them we can open the web gate and head up to the Palace of Fangs.
Rabat is the capital?
we have
So
to-
is Marrakesh just a major city then, Sami? So trapdoor spiders, they're apparently in this
Yeah,
one.
we gotta collect bristles in this one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like, if the comparison is that Marrakesh has all the cool things and Rabat is just the politics, that's DC versus New York. Like, honestly, a lot of people
So-
tours into DC, but if you're looking for, like, American cuisine and culture, you don't go to DC, you go to New York City.
Or you go to Chicago, or you go to, any of the other cities that are across the Midwest, and other places, because you'll get your regional stuff too.
Well, you got to fly international, so you've got to think about someone who's coming into one city and may not go anywhere
Yeah,
else.
they're probably, well, remember, Indianapolis is an international airport, so is Eau
Yeah,
Claire.
but Indianapolis is a business side.
Atlanta
It's
is one of the biggest international airport. Actually, Atlanta is bigger than the New York City ones.
New York City has the most traffic. Atlanta has the largest. Yeah. Atlantic, you're likely to meet the clash of all of the different ethnic groups that are in America, because Atlanta is a very much a city that it embodies, like the cooking pot analogies that come to American, the mixing
melting
pot,
pot.
the melting pot analogies of America. New York City gets a lot of Middle Eastern and European. Atlanta embodies more of Hispanic and African American culture. Chicago, you might have more of like
The Polish, you've got the Polish.
you've
and
got
the
Eastern
Germanic.
European, you've got West African, because there's a lot of like Somali and Ethiopians in the Midwest near Chicago.
But remember, Chicago has the largest Polish population outside of Poland.
Anyway, I'm explaining that, like, no, Chicago is not the capital. Chicago is just one of America's major cities. Washington, D.C. is literally its name, is the capital of the United States of America. Chicago, New York City, Atlanta, they're all major cities, like your Marrakesh. Or Tangiers.
New Orleans.
New Orleans.
He never mentions New Orleans.
Because I've never been there, so I can't advertise it.
You also told me you don't want to go there, bitch.
I don't want to get mugged and or robbed.
That's why we only visit during the day. It's like DC. You just visit during the day.
Good, cool. I like night hour cities where you can't safely walk outside.
Something else. I actually
don't talk
had a
about the
book
sundown
library.
towns, okay?
So funny thing, Duck, when about 15 years ago, one of the when they used to print travel guides for people to buy or check out from the library, they did a series of them called New Orleans with Children or family friendly. And it actually went through and told you the suburbs to go to if you had children for the family friendly parades. So it was a way so there was a way to go to see the big cities, but go to the parts of the cities where it's child friendly.
And just to help with size context, because maps lie, and they're all distorted in some capacity, the United States is the length of Portugal to Moscow, and it's the height of the tip of Norway and Jan Mayen Island, all the way to, like, the tip of Algeria, in terms of sheer size and length of the United States. And it has roughly the same amount of people in it as all of Europe does. About 330 million people in America. There's about 340-ish million in Europe, if we're talking everyone but Russia.
So I joke about Zealot and Duck live 11 and a half hours east of me in a different time zone. So, and we're still in the same country. I drive through 5 states to get to them.
And each of those states are roughly the size of the United Kingdom. Or
some are bigger. Some are the size of France or Spain.
Pennsylvania,
Ohio.
Ohio is probably the size of Portugal. Pennsylvania is probably close to Spain in size, but that's pushing it.
I know you don't drive through it, but me looking at Texas.
Texas
I have driven the length of Texas. It takes forever.
Texas is
I've
like
never driven it, but I've heard of it from everyone I've ever met that went from Highway 90 on the Mississippi side all the way to the other side.
Texas is like 20 hours across.
We went from entering from Arkansas into Texas and driving down to Harlingen, which is down by Brownsville on the Mexican border, was where my grandparents wintered every year.
The driving from one end of Texas to the other end is comparable in distance from going, say, from the Straits of Gibraltar to Benghazi in distance. 12 hours across Texas? Yeah. On a good day. So when you're going like 90 miles an hour because there's no one around because it's empty.
Yeah, smile.
It's literally a desert.
You just see like some scared Amish children on the side of the road being like, "Oh God."
There's not
even it's a desert. It's an empty wasteland on the.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no Amish children if there's Amish children in Texas, they're not near the highways.
You might be thinking
they are, but like not necessarily by the highways. See, I'm thinking like whenever you drive like backwoods between Mississippi to Arkansas, there's lots of little Amish settlements. But it's definitely not desert.
No. On the Texas highway, once you get into the desert strip, which is like just west of Austin and Houston, right? Like you hit Laredo and it just turns into like hard desert. Like no one should live here kind of desert. And it stays that way until you get into Arizona, to my recollection, because like the little strip of New Mexico on the border is also Oblivion Desert.
But it's not this desert because the King Ranch, they raise cattle there, and remember how big the King Ranch is.
Yes, but
I remember when we drove south to Harlingen, most of that 2-lane highway was on the border of the King Ranch. we were driving, and that was all owned by one family
I get
because
that,
they
but
owned a lot of
like
that.
the amount of land that is usable in Texas for cattle grazing is all on the eastern side. There isn't anything in the western half of Texas that is
Yeah.
can do
Well,
cattle.
Harlingen's on the eastern side.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
you're
that's
driving through Houston and Corpus Christi to get to Harlingen. So,
I've never been on the other side of, not Dallas, Fort Worth. I've never been on the other side of Fort Worth.
the
Fort Worth and Dallas are kind of together.
the
So
Chihuahua
it's kinda
the
I know.
Chihuahuan
Fort-
Desert
Fort
spans
Worth is like slightly east of,
The-
or not east, slightly west of Dallas.
But it's kind of like the Minneapolis St. Paul area of Minnesota, where the two cities blend together. They've grown towards each other. You know.
the Chihuahuan Desert, named for the region in Mexico where it was originally discovered when the Spanish were exploring America. The Chihuahuan Desert spans over 200,000 square miles, stretching across North America from West Texas into Mexico, including parts of Arizona and New Mexico.
Yeah, I'm going to be driving to Arizona this summer. That's why I'm driving to Oklahoma to my friend's house, and she's driving us to Arizona.
I like Texas, but I see that at a lot of casinos. It depends. Like if you're on, I guess maybe if you're in like, I don't know about Houston.
You're not going to have just casinos in Texas. Mississippi and Louisiana and Alabama are known for their casinos. I know little lady groups that drive down
Yes,
there.
it is called the Gulf Riviera for a reason.
Yeah.
I've never heard that name, but
It
Well,
is
that's
cursed.
because you don't live in the area where they do bus trips for these senior citizens to bus down to a casino.
oh no, oh no. I didn't live in that town. Both of my parents have worked in that town for years.
Sorry, my bad. It's also called the
So-
Redneck Riviera. My
So,
bad.
You know, it was when in doubt, it's 11 p.m. on like a Wednesday and you want ice cream, there's one place that you know you can go, and it's that fucking Baskin Robbins in the Hard Rock Casino.
Oh yeah. Okay. Funny story. When I went out to visit my best friend that used to live in Las Vegas 6 years ago, she and her significant other and I were going to do this casino, but the casino was part of a mall, so the kids could go eat at the food court and then go to the movie theater while we were in the casino.
Oh, that's useful.
So then we met up at the ice cream cookie place in the food court after we were all done. And that was unusual for me because out here in the Midwest, if you go to the big casinos, yeah, they have food places, but it's not like it's attached to a mall with
No, yeah, it's like outside of the casino whenever I've seen it.
yeah. So I was completely flabbergasted that they actually entered their part of the mall through a part of the casino that was the restaurant that they could walk through to get to the mall, to get to the food court and the movie theater. So it was the weirdest thing. I just got, I only have 2 of 4. Are you not in this room?
I am.
I'm in a
Did you
combat.
did you go up? Sorry.
No, I didn't move. The spider walked too close to me, I guess.
No, you went up.
I thought I pulled out.
No, you went further up. I just hadn't gone up yet. I'm just giving some context there, Sami, so that way you, like, when we
Well,
talk about...
not just British, but the Germans came in that way too. And that's why there's a heavy German influence in Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana. They flowed this way. The American dream. The idea of the American dream, I'll address this one, Sammy. The idea of the American dream was that when the people came over here and colonized initially, was that anyone, if they worked hard enough, could achieve a modicum of success to support their family. The idea of the American dream is that if you work hard enough, you will be able to own your own home and support your family. That was the original idea of the American dream.
If you look up Thomas Paine, or some of the Locke,
Founding
also
fathers.
some of the John Locke philosophy associated that Thomas Jefferson ripped from. The idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness is usually life, liberty, and the ownership of land. Um, and
But the idea is because a lot of the people that originally settled the United States had been people who were never going to be able to own land in Europe or the country they came from. They were usually the poorest people, or they were people who were being ostracized because of their religious beliefs.
and even when they came here, they were on charters from their kings, which meant they didn't own the land they were on, and they were in debt to the king, which created a permanent hostility to monarchy, as well as the idea that there should be no one who prevents me from being able to own land in the end. Yeah, no
Which
problem.
is why our presidents are people who grew up. I mean, they may be from wealthy families now, but originally was the idea that they were the same kind of people that farmed farms. And the original ideas for our politicians, our senators, our congressmen, was that they were not, that wasn't supposed to be their job. They were supposed to still have a full-time job back where they were from that supported them. And they were doing a service to the country that they supported to do this political service.
We don't have blooded nobility of any variety, nor a blooded monarchy. We have an elected monarch, which is the president, effectively, and we have elected nobility, which is our House representatives and senators these days.
But that's not what they were originally supposed to be.
That's fine. There's some Hamiltonian literature that might be against that, but that's because, like, I
Yeah,
like
but
Hamilton.
remember, Hamilton was
The father of the Constitution. And the
He
reason,
was one of the fathers.
no, he is principally, he wrote 190 of the 230 Federalist Papers. He is the father of the Constitution.
Yes, but Madison wrote a lot of those other Federalist Papers.
No,
and
he
there's a
wrote
difference.
10. You can look up.
Got sick after writing 50 something.
Yeah, it's.
Sorry, I'm quoting the musical.
Yeah, no, it's.
Well, you can't always quote musicals. That's
Yes,
just
I
like
can.
people.
I-
No,
I fully accept the fact that the numbers in the Hamilton musical are probably wrong. It doesn't mean that I can't quote it.
Okay, but it's just like people think the King of Siam, the King and I, is a factual representation of the English governess who worked for the King of Siam, and it's not. It's a great musical, but it's not factual.
Hamilton wrote 51. Madison wrote 29. Sorry.
Okay, so it's not.
John Jay
the-
wrote 5. Between them, they wrote 85. Hamilton wrote more than half of them. Not that Madison didn't write a small amount. It's not saying that.
But their views
It's
were
just that Madison
divergent.
got sick. Yeah.
But if you look at it, those three people who wrote the Federalist Papers did not necessarily agree with the way the country should go,
Oh
No.
no, not at all.
which is why Aaron Burr did the whole duel with Hamilton. They were on opposite sides politically.
No, actually, the problem was Hamilton was just... not Hamilton. Burr was just a snake. But
Well, yes, Burr tried to sell us out to the Spanish.
that's the conspiracy theory. We don't have to go down that
No,
route.
no, I actually read stuff in my history class that anyway. There is research that shows there was supposedly letters
That was...
found.
So the Burr conspiracy happened after he shot Hamilton. That's... That
But-
wasn't...
but
He wasn't
did
trying...
discover-
He wasn't trying to sell out to Spain. He was trying to get justification to invade Mexico. He was trying to get money and weapons so he could conquer what is today Mexico.
I thought I read something that basically said that he was trying to do it so that Spain could invade us, and he would get something for Spain invading us.
No, there's a lot of belief that he wanted to be king, and since he couldn't be president anymore in his mind, he could try and be king.
Why, yes.
The rise of founding father
He
Alexander
fights for
Hamilton
honor,
fights for
love,
honor,
and
love, and a
legacy
legacy that would shape the course of a nation. Yes.
Well,
The musical is fun. There are things that are not right in it, but it's a fun musical. As someone who loves Hamilton and a lot of the text, and I love the Constitution, because I swear an oath to the Constitution for my job, like, Hamilton is my favorite founding father, mostly because he's very Machiavellian. Like, a lot of literature that is pre-1990 hates on Hamilton. It doesn't matter which political party, because most people thought Hamilton was crazy. but there's been enough finding of his like notes and diaries and letters that it wasn't that he was crazy. He thought he had to act crazy so people wouldn't do stupid things. And so, despite his own best interest, he routinely put himself in stupid situations because he thought it would help diffuse the situation, like his affair. What's my best way to deal with the fact that it could be used against me? I'll out myself.
Pamphlet.
I'll out
seen that
myself as a
shit?
philanderer. It's like, hello? Like, not a smart guy in terms of his own life choices, but when it came to the country, he made a lot of good, brilliant
You
decisions.
could justify that for the fact that he was born on one of the, wasn't it Haiti or Dominican Republic?
I think it's one of the Caribbean islands. Yeah, he was not.
Yeah, it's one of the.
He was his mother. His mother
Whatever.
was from the Caribbean. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he was the son of a concubine or a slave or
Yeah.
something.
Well, okay. It depends on what conspiracy they were taking about him. Now, if we take the John Adams conspiracy, his mom was a prostitute.
I wasn't going to go John Adams because he's my least favorite.
If we go
founding
Thomas
father.
Jefferson,
I love his
mom.
Abigail,
he was
Abigail
a daughter of a-
Adams was awesome. Abigail Adams is the one that ripped her husband and the other founding fathers for the fact that women had given up just as much for the Revolutionary War as the men did, yet you're not giving them the right to vote. I love
Oh, hey,
Abigail
we can take
Adams.
down the spider web over here now. Mom, come over here.
Oh.
The spider web.
Oh, okay. I was following the arrow, sorry.
What arrow were you following?
I don't know.
That's why I'm asking. I want to know which one you're following.
I don't know. I wasn't really reading. I was just running.
Understandable. If you hit Quest Finder, Zorelia has a quest that we can
I've got
get.
a company old cob in the hive. Is the one.
I
we've
know.
got now.
Could you hit the Quest Finder and go to Zorelia? Because I see her.
Zorelia?
Yeah, I see her on my screen.
Oh, okay. Okay, I got it. I got it.
That way you don't misdirect yourself. Because like I see her in front of us, and I'm doing the silver chest.
Oh, I'll just run to her then.
It was funny because like when the Hamilton musical came out, a lot of people were like, "You like Hamilton? Is it because you watched the musical?" And I was like, "No, it's because like I read enough Theodore Roosevelt, and I realized that Theodore Roosevelt really liked Hamilton, and so I read Hamilton, and I went, I kind of agree with most of this. What's wrong?" And then I found out, like in American politics, there's a lot of people who hate Hamilton like they hate Lincoln, and I don't fundamentally understand it. But there's a lot of people who hate Theodore Roosevelt, and I don't understand it. And
Okay, so funny thing about Lincoln. I grew up in Indiana, and in Illinois, where I live now, Lincoln is a big name. And I had a guy in college, a professor in college, who said that if Lincoln hadn't been assassinated, we wouldn't remember him. And we all just kind of looked at him. It was he was a really rabid 60s protester teaching history.
I feel like he was also secretly a Southern racist in Indiana, because like
Yeah,
that's some states' rights hatred right there. There's a lot of people like in terms of like academic institutions who are from the South that I ran into in politics, who had that view of like.
We can go in this. Have you talked to Zorelia?
Yeah, I did. I was picking up some comet dust. Calm down. Don't now Hamilton. I just now Beethoven. Oh, you're good.
Beethoven is one.
Don't worry, one of them wrote music, one of them wrote essays. So it's
Tell me your strongest
potato, potato.
flaw, then you're just a distraction.
Yeah, Hamilton has a musical. It's not one that he wrote. It's about him.
No.
It's a recently written one within the last 5 years.
Oh no.
Oh no, it was
Is it?
pre-COVID. It was
It's-
pre-COVID.
No, it was pre-COVID.
Not much before COVID.
2017.
Yeah, I was gonna say because it got popular when I was in high school. Still,
It dropped.
It's
Yeah, but that's only 6 years.
No. So Lin-Manuel Miranda campaigned for Hillary Clinton, Mom. That's how old it is.
Okay, so okay, it's 9 years.
It's almost 10, but yeah.
I was wondering when you were going to join the fight.
You ran in, and I didn't even see you run in.
Mm.
I was kind of looking at the room.
Well, the good
And
news is
actually, I love Beethoven's music. He's one of my favorite um, composers, classical composers.
Composers. Yeah.
Yeah. Mozart, Bach, and Beethoven are my
There's
three that I really love.
hitting me a bunch. Okay.
That would be very hard for me to answer, but that's also because I'm a music nerd. So,
What's that?
well, like pick it if I had to pick a favorite composer, like I would have to go through.
The three that I mentioned, there's specific things I love about them, their music, and it's different.
Okay.
So, Beethoven, part of it is the music he wrote, but the fact that the most beautiful music he wrote was after he was deaf and he could no longer hear it. So he is writing it purely on what he could hear in his mind. He was deaf. The Ninth Symphony, the Moonlight Sonata, for Elise. Those are like my three favorite pieces by him. Mozart, I love because the harpsichord, you don't play chords, they're individual keys being hit. So his music is it moves a lot. And it's just, there's something about his music that just, it's not somber, it's just full. There's just a fullness to it. And for me, Bach, again, the Bach music just, again, it's moving. My favorite is Jay-Z, Joy of Man's Desiring. And I'll admit, one of the earliest introductions I had to Bach was my father bought an 8-track tape called Switched on Bach, and it was Bach music played on a Moog synthesizer in the 70s. And it is awesome sounding. I mean, the music just is full with that. They use the Moog synthesizer to do all of the instrumentation. It was awesome. And that's when I first fell in love with Bach. I was a little girl. My dad would play that 8-track when we were traveling. So. Probably after this combat, Zealot, we should probably get to our next spot and stop.
Okay.
I have library board meeting tomorrow night, and I need to be getting around, getting ready for bed, and taking care of the cats.
Okay. That sounds good.
Okay, I'm gonna hit.
You hear the devil to Beethoven? Oh, the song.
Oh wait,
is it-
are you talking about Trans-Siberian Orchestra's Beethoven's Last Night? Because the whole concept of that album by Trans-Siberian Orchestra is
Yes.
Beethoven has just finished his Ninth Symphony, and he's sitting there realizing he'll never hear it performed, and the devil shows up and offers him the deal that if he wants to hear it, he gives up the fact that basically everyone will forget his music. No one will ever remember him and his music, and the devil will let him hear his symphony being played. And it's him agonizing over the decision of what he's going to choose. Is that what you're talking about, the devil? Because that's the devil, the Beethoven story.
Same said yes.
Okay. That Trans-Siberian Orchestra is one of my favorite Christmas music bands.
He just hears 5% to or remember.
Yeah. And he chose to be remembered and not hear it at the end of the album. Yeah. I actually owned that album. Trans-Siberian Orchestra originally started off as an 80s hair metal band. And the man who founded the band Sabotage and his bandmates talked, and he wanted to make music like Mozart and Beethoven that would be remembered centuries after they were dead. And so
And
they
to his
formed,
credit, his band is still touring even after he passed.
oh yeah, Paul, I forget what his last name was. Paul passed, and his band still tours every Christmas, November and December here. And but he wanted music that was as iconic and not be forgotten, just a flash in the pan. And they perform beautiful music. Um, Nothing to throw. I'll heal you next round if I have enough pips. John Belushi did an old skit as Beethoven on Saturday Night Live that was funny. It was an homage to Beethoven. It wasn't nasty about Beethoven.
What's your
just,
favorite song or singer? Oh.
I don't have just one. It depends on what you're talking about. I'm one of those people, I joke that I live my life by a soundtrack. Every important moment in my life, or things that have happened to me, there's a song that I say espouses perfectly the emotions I was feeling at that point. I tend to like a lot of bass and drum, so I'm kind of more into the heavy metal, symphonic metal. But then I also like disco. I like 60s music. I like 80s music. I'm not big into grunge, but there are grunge songs I'll listen to. I'm not country western. Although there are some country western songs I will listen to and like. Again, it's just hodgepodge.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately the same way. I can tell you songs that I love immediately. I can't tell you if they're like my favorite band. Because like my two favorite bands I have different reasons for. But like they're both tied to my dad. They're Within Temptation and Parkway Drive. I like their music a lot. Both bands.
It's funny you mentioned Within Temptation. I had forgotten how much I love their music, and I added them to my Spotify rotation. And wow, The Howling has stuck in my head for 2 months now.
I mean, you used to like Camelot's The Haunting.
The Haunting, and I love Within Temptations, The Howling, What Have You Done, Stand My Ground. But you got me hooked on Five Finger Death Punch, Beyond the Horizon. Some of the other bands that you listen, geez, I can't think of all of them. Some of the music you listened to in college. I
mean,
enjoy
there's
those.
I can tell you that "Give It Up" by Casey and the Sunshine Band is a song that I can always listen to.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. But then I also listen to all the other Casey and the Sunshine Band stuff too. Also, it was funny. I was listening to my rotation and Was Not Was, Spy in the House of Love, and I just remember the first time you heard it, and you're like, "Why have I only heard Walk the Dinosaur? Why did I never hear this?" I'm like, "This is the song your dad and I love."
Get on the floor, everybody do the dinosaur. Ooh, ooh, ow, 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 ooh, ooh.
In the House of Love, and you're like, "Why did I never hear that one?" I'm like, "Because it wasn't a top 40 hit like Walk the Dinosaur was."
Get on the floor, everybody do the dinosaur.
I used to joke about that I liked the dance music, like Berlin. Oh, geez. Wow. I have so many bands that pop in my head. It's hard to remember.
I got a friend.
I heard the Jerry Hollowell version of "It's Raining Men" tonight today as I was driving my yard.
I like No More Words so much that I got a friend to cover No More Words for my D&D game I run on Saturdays.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
when the second of it, sometimes I can hear it.
When the second half starts, it'll be the intro for my streams going into that. So
You need to text me so I can hear it because I've never heard your stream
I could,
music.
well, I mean, it's not playing now. It's not until
No,
that
I mean when
starts.
you
Still,
get ready, when you start to play it Friday
yeah,
night, text me and I'll
but it's not
listen.
Friday night. It's not. It's okay. I'm trying to
For
rate.
Saturday game.
It's a Saturday game, but we're not at that point yet. It'll be the theme for
Oh.
the second half of the game.
Oh, okay, okay. So you'll let me know because I
Yeah.
haven't heard this cover and I'd be interested because No More Words is an awesome song by Berlin.
Yeah,
Admittedly, I like the
and
Metro. I
and
like Masquerade.
I he pressured a friend. I'm like, I think you could belt this out really hard, and I would
Actually,
love to hear
you
it.
should have that person do a cover of Like Flames. That to me is their most awesome song.
No, because I was dodging love songs and going for more
No,
just
no, no.
energy
Like Flames
songs.
is not a love song.
I thought
It's
that
talking
was.
about rebellion. It's talking about an uprising. Like
Okay,
Flames.
that would not fit my game at all. That's fine though.
Okay, okay. But Like Flames is one of those songs. You know, the Freedom Past was sold, um, and you know they're uprising.
Yeah, I remember in my high school class, one of the kids in my class used that song for their Revolution song. I did Revolution Calling.
Which your
And,
dad's was FFDP's 10,000 Fists in the Air.
no, that's not FFDP. That is Disturbed.
Oh, that's Disturbed. Sorry. He had, oh, The Pride was his from Five Finger. It
That's
was
not
The Pride and
that's not even a
10,000 Fists in the
Revolution
Air.
song. The Pride is literally a song about being American.
Yeah,
Which
but he kind of saw it as a revolution song as to the way society was acting towards those thoughts, those concepts.
I mean, if you want to entertain yourself, you can always look up Five Finger Death Punches the Pride. It encapsulates a snapshot of American culture, good, bad, and ugly.
Also, let me know what song you want to listen to. I can add it next to play. I can't make Mama Zealot and Zealot listen to it because we're not listening to the same music.
Well, and I
But,
can't listen to music at all. All I get is Zealot's feed.
Well, you could listen
And
to the
you're
Ducks
talking.
feed.
I don't know that I would get music feed over this.
No, you could watch the Ducks feed, and then you'd be able to hear the music.
Oh,
That's what
well.
the Ducks say. Because we share a chat, which means you could listen to the Ducks channel. You'd get all the chat,
Oh,
all
okay,
the stuff.
okay. I wasn't sure how that would work. You know, I don't do Twitch except for when I'm with you.
I know. I think that killed it.
Man,
No?
that's
Damn.
not what I meant. Yeah, she doesn't love me enough. Anyway, I was
Oh,
gonna
that is not what I meant.
she'll also, if she listens to the stream, I know, I'm just being a shit. But the problem is that she'll listen to the stream, and so she'll get double all of our audio.
Yeah.
So,
And that would hurt my little head.
don't
Yo,
worry,
widow
it
head.
hurts my head. It hurts my head when it happens.
But like, I loved Van Halen, Van Hagar when Sammy Hagar was lead singer. You know, I have all these different bands that, and it's not necessarily that I love every single song. Well, and even Backstreet Boys, I love a lot of their music, but again, it's not every single song. So
All right. We finished this, and oh god, there's a boss fight. No. Okay, we gotta get out of here because we want to be done with the.
I don't
It's
know if we can leave.
we could just walk out. I think
Okay, I just walked out.
we can always do
So we'll
this
just
next
start
time.
this part over.
Yeah, that's fine.
It was a pleasure talking with all of you tonight. Everyone have a great week.
Yeah. Duck, I'm gonna raid over to Yari, because I got an invite to play Age of Empires with her tonight, so I'm just gonna play for like a couple games and then I'll be done.
That's fine. I'm gonna drop off. Everyone have a good evening. Love you both.
Love you, Mom.
Yeah. Love you. Okay, let me swap to my ending screen, and then I can raid over.
Sounds good. Appreciate everyone who was chatting with us. Sammy, I hope you have a good night.
Yeah, Sammy, I'll refund your points for the song since I didn't get to play it. Just remind me next time you're in chat, and you can just tell me the song. 9 times out of 10, I have Spotify up, so. All right, we're gonna go wade Miss Yawiko. She's
Yeah.
apparently on a BRB screen, but she's playing Age of Empires 2, and apparently the Stinky Birdman is going to go play with her.
Yeah, I got invited because there was a new DLC that dropped that is Dynasty Warriors vibe. It's Three Kingdoms. So I'm gonna go be a nerd.
Nerd. But yeah, go
Nerd.
support the nerds. Thank you guys for stepping in. I will be back. Maybe Friday if I have time. If not Friday, definitely Saturday.
Saturday, maybe not, because we have our friend's indie party, remember?
Just kidding.
You'll see us Saturday night, probably. Yeah, you have a good night as well, Salmi. I hope you have a great night and get some rest.
Yeah. Alright, I'm ready to raid over you.
Yep, I'm gonna hit the button.
Okay.